Hey, everybody, what's up? Welcome to another episode of the Power Up Podcast. It's a show that takes a look at what's happening in pop culture, keep our minds sharp and up to date, make our brains big, if you will. Everything that's pop culture, what's good, what's bad, what's ugly, sort of thing. And then I'll give you some spiritual insight if I see it arise. But yeah, hopefully just a goal to, keep the nostalgic flame um, alive and running well. Why? I swear, like my settings, it feels like my settings change all the time, even though I literally don't touch anything. But in any case, yeah, hopefully it at least rekindles some nostalgic spirit inside of you, because we can be entertained and have good stuff. We just gotta apparently go to the past because right now a lot of the modern stuff is failing and failing miserably. But if you enjoy that sort of stuff and just want to hear another guy give his opinions about everything, you can hit the like and subscribe button, turn on notifications to get notified when I go live, all that fun stuff. We do it Tuesdays and Thursdays, 9 p.m. Central Time. Don't miss out because it's fun. It's exciting. We've got some articles pulled up here. Kind of like the main ones talking about is Cracker Barrel. Got modernized. A lot of pushback happened, and the logo, which had Uncle Herschel on it with his Cracker Barrel and the text and everything, was originally gone to just being a stupid plain bland, just I don't even know what the shape of it's called. Like it's almost diamond shaped, but not really, is what they were going for. And then people got mad, and so they went back. But so that's a good win on us. But it just shows how tone deaf the CEO is, and we still need to remove a bunch of other stuff as well. And Ray J. Jackson, a lot of people may have seen the fact that he pretty much assaulted a wrestler dude. And we have an article here talking about the breakdown. And it's 100% bullshit in my opinion, but we'll get down to the nitty gritty and then form a full opinion on that. I already smell bullshit based on the little snippets from the videos I've seen floating around and stuff. And of course we have other articles too. So let's hop into it, shall we? Starting off, something involving with the censorship, like the UK, and that is. Oh, come on. I had this set up. Jeez. Stupid. That Park Place. 4chan is pretty much saying fuck you to the UK. And it's pretty funny. The UK gets fiery legal response from 4chan as social media site refuses to pay the online safety fine. So by any measures, the UK's, and this comes from, again, that Park Place, by any measures, the UK's first big clash under the Online Safety Act is larger than one controversial message board. 4chan's counsel says the site will refuse Ofcom's fines and challenge any enforcement attempt in U.S. federal court, while also seeking political backing in Washington. If that strategy succeeds or fails, it could set practical limits on how far a foreign regulator can reach into the operations of America communications and entertainment companies. So under the OSA, Ofcom can levy penalties up to the greater of 18 million or 10% of global revenue and escalate with additional measures. Those powers are not theoretical. The regulator has already moved into an enforcement phase and has begun issuing notices tied to information request compliances. For U.S. firm, the headline isn't only the size of potential fines, it's the extraterritorial mechanics that make non-union companies answerable to a UK regime. Yeah, to me, this makes absolutely no sense. How can the UK even think that way? But they're a bunch of scumbags anyway. It's just ridiculous. Crucially, Ofcom's toolkit isn't limited to tickets, guidance, and expert analysis analysis highlight potential pressure on third parties from app stores and search to ISPs and payment providers to restrict a non-compliant service access to the UK market. In other words, even if a site has no official offices in Britain, the regulator can still make life difficult by leaning on the distribution and monetization rails that most US platforms rely on. Now a battle is over. Now a battle is here over whether or not U.S. companies will concede their First Amendment protections in the United States to satisfy the United Kingdom. Didn't we already go through this once before and massacred so many people in a war that pretty much made a statement? Like, you guys lost once. You really want to lose again. 4chan's legal team says Ofcom intends to start with a £20,000 penalty in daily fines, and that any effort to collect or domesticate those penalties in the U.S. will be fought in court. Reporting also indicates outreach to the current U.S. administration for diplomatic support, framing the dispute as a defense of American speech norms against a foreign regulator. That combination, litigation plus diplomacy, is designed to create precedents that other U.S. platforms could use. So here you go. The UK Office of Communications has allegedly issued a notice to 4chan with an intention to impose a £20,000 fine plus daily penalties. And then 4chan's lawyer dropped a response. Can we actually read what the response is? Here you go. Oh, we got Ron Coleman and Byron Storm. Oh, they're representing 4chan. Ooh. According to press reports, the UK office. Okay, we kind of read all that. 4chan is a United States company, incorporated in Delaware. Oh, so that's where 4chan is located. With no establishment, asset, or operations in the United Kingdom, any attempt to impose or enforce a penalty against 4chan will be resisted in U.S. federal court. American businesses do not surrender their First Amendment right because a foreign bureaucrat sent them an email under settled principles of U.S. law. American courts will not enforce foreign penal fines or censorship codes. Necessary, will seek appropriate relief. Okay, so kind of just repeating what we already read. The Prime Minister, Sir Keir Starmer, was reportedly warned by the White House to cease targeting Americans with UK censorship codes, according to a report in The Telegraph of July 30th. I believe I did read about that. So despite these warnings, Ofcom continues its illegal campaign to harass against American technology firms. Political solution to this matter is urgently required, and the solution must come from the highest level of American government. We call on the Trump administration to invoke all diplomatic and legal levers available in the United States to protect American companies from extraterritorial censorship mandates. Our clients reserves all rights. There you go. There's a response to that. Oh, crap. I accidentally... Hold on. I closed out the article. That's going to be our next one. Metal Gear. Here we go. So here are the big reasons this is far larger than just one rogue American company taking on the UK. President for U.S. Entertainment Communications Platform. If a U.S. court declines to enforce OSA penalties or constraints Ofcom's reach, streamers, social networks, game communities, podcast hosts, and creator platforms will have a clear playbook for resisting extraterritorial speech rules. Conversely, if the UK can successfully pressure app stores, ISPs, or payment processors to cut ties, the lesson for American companies will be to build for jurisdictional fragmentation, including UK-only product rules and heavier compliance overhead. Let's be real, though. What do we get from the UK that we, need? You know? That's what I'm confused about. Number 2, the distribution choke points risk. Many US companies don't transact directly with UK regulators, but they all rely on gatekeepers. Apple, Google stores, search ad tech, car networks. The USA structure, OSA, excuse me, structure explicitly contemplates using those choke points, which can have immediate commercial impact without ever winning a judgment against the underlying US service. For ad supported publishers and AVOD services, especially, that threat is material. Number three, global compliance cascade. The UK is not alone in moving this direction. Its enforcement calendar signals a durable shift towards regulator-led content risk management. Companies that produce or host content, film, TV, streamers, interactive entertainment, live audio, and chat apps will face rising pressure to harmonize policies to the strictest market or accept geo-specific features and catalogs. The start of the OSA's enforcement window underscores that this isn't hypothetical anymore. You don't have to like 4chan to see why this case matters. The OSA's goals, especially around child safety, are broadly popular. I feel like I am doing terrible in talking right now. I am like stuttering like crazy, I feel. But in any case, but how those goals are enforced will determine whether a foreign regulator can impose penalties, policy changes, and deplatforming tactics on U.S. companies that create and distribute speech. Ofcom's approach, fines plus pressure on distribution partners, prevail uncontested. The practical limits of the First Amendment for American media companies may be increasingly determined outside the United States. That's why the 4chan fine is important. It will help define the balance between legitimate safety objectives and sovereignty over U.S. communications and entertainment speech. The outcome here won't just shape one message board's fate. It could set the operational baseline for how every US platform that reaches UK users, streaming video, music, games, social, podcasts, every payment enabled fan communities must have. Watching this case closely is not endorsed, it's risk management. This is an analysis for general information, not legal advice. Park Place is represented in legal matter by Mr. Ron Coleman, who likewise is participating in counsel for the 4chan issue. He has provided no advice nor advised in any way regarding the production and publication of this article. Yeah, but I say that's definitely a huge thing for sure too, because like they stated, we need to see where a baseline is. We need to just tell the UK to fuck off. That's honestly what we need to do. Like, it makes no sense. Like, get to the point where we just don't interact with UK anymore. Because it's like, you know what? If you're going to be a totalitarian place, like, I don't want any part of you. And the people over at the UK, they need to step up and fight as well, to be honest. Like, this has gone completely insane. But in any case, so that was that article. Next, coming up, hop on over to Tech for Gamers. You guys kind of saw it when I accidentally closed down the article. The Metal Gear Solid remake is out. People are either, I'm assuming the pre-order is out. I thought it was like the 28th, but people are playing it. Metal Gear Solid 3 remake. Hey, Big Block. Plymouth, what's up, brother? Yeah, an American flag, baby. Yes, wave that sucker. America, baby. And like I said, I thought we taught UK a lesson once. Like, do we have to teach them another one again? It's foolish, I say, foolish. So the Metal Gear Solid 3 remake performance raises doubts about Unreal Engine 5 yet again. And I also heard, sadly, that it sounds like some censorship has taken place. The infamous Snake and Eve scene I heard. Not as much jiggle physics in the remake as opposed to the original. So, yeah. And to be honest, I kind of expected something like this to happen. I'm curious when they get to the point where Snake's in disguise, and I forget what the main guy is, the guy who like has electricity. He like straight up grabs his junk because he like that's how he identifies him, to where it's like, you're not a real soldier if memory serves me correctly. So I'm wondering if they did anything with that scene. But performance issues. So Metal Gear Solid 3 Remake has received a lot of praise over the last week, but one major problem has sullied the excitement for this title. The remake runs quite poorly on consoles in performance mode, with the PS5 Pro often running worse than the base console. Although this outcome has raised eyebrows over Konami and Vitrio's optimization efforts, many have even begun to discuss Unreal Engine 5 again, stating that the constant optimization woes in this title uses the engine are becoming, and titles using this engine are becoming too hard to ignore. So during its initial announcement, Unreal Engine 5 was pitched as the future of AAA gameplay and visuals, but it has not lived up to of those promises yet. And there's just an unhappy fan right there. Over on Twitter, Synth Potato pointed to a slew of recent games that depicted one major problem or another. A common theme among these titles was the use of Unreal Engine 5, and this is not the first time this engine has been criticized. MGS3 Remake marks one more problematic release to add to the list, and even though the game presents a strong visual outlook, the graphics do not justify the low resolution and poor frame rates. Others like Mafia, The Old Country, and Oblivion Remastered showcase similar problems, with stuttering being common across all titles. Some even went as far as dubbing Unreal Engine 5 a complete failure. Ouch. On the other hand, others pointed out that the engine itself should not be blamed for the developers' shortcomings. They highlighted recent releases like The Finals and Claire Obscure Expedition 33 as examples of Unreal Engine 5 games performing well on all platforms. With games like The Witcher 4 also expected to use the same technology, it will be interesting to see what the future holds for Unreal Engine 5. However, fans are far from impressed from what the engine has delivered during the current generation so far. So, I guess I just noticed up here. Got a little, well, I don't know if this is actually true, if it's just like an image. But there you guys go. I don't know if any of you guys have played Metal Gear Solid 3 Remake yet. I have not. I will probably not be getting it anytime soon. Is it for PC or just PS5 currently? If I do get it, it would be for number one, PC, and number two, I'm sure someone's going to fix the jiggle physics and all that stuff, which is hilarious because you would think at this point companies would just not touch and ruin anything, but they just have to. Let's see. Yeah, it's on all of it. I thought so. I thought it was. And some people are complaining about like the lighting, because the that PS2 washout effect that a lot of games have. Some could say that's the charm of a PS2 game, while others could say it doesn't need to be needed. But I don't know. I just saw, like I said, recently someone made a comparison between the OG and the remake of the cave scene, and some jiggle physics are indeed gone. Lucky for me, I have Metal Gear Solid 3 Subsistence. So that's the special edition version. I snagged that sucker a long time ago. I do not regret it. So I've got the OG, so I'm still happy, but still I wouldn't mind checking out the remake. So remember, I'm a big proponent of having physical media, and if you've legitimately paid for the game digitally, and it's exactly what you would get if you actually had physical media, you own that sucker. I don't care what anyone else says. Well, Nintendo might be in a little bit of a might be under some pressure here, because here at a Video Game Chronicle article here, the Japan's National Library says it won't be preserving Switch 2 game key cards. And that the library requires a copy of all new publications by law, but says Switch 2 game key cards aren't eligible. It says that the legal deposit library says Switch 2 game key cards won't be eligible as part of its video game preservation process. The National Diet Library, which was established in 48, excuse me, it's one of the largest libraries in the world, and similarly to other legal deposit libraries. I felt like a yawn cough coming. Excuse me. Like the British Library, whatever. And the U.S. Library of Congress requires by law that every domestic publisher has to submit copies of every new publication for the purpose of preservation. So since October of 2000, this has included physical video game, CDs, and cartridges, with the NDL currently owning more than 9,600 video games housed in archival conditions. However, as reported by Famitsu via Automaton, the NDL has chosen not to include Switch 2 game key cards as part of its collection because it doesn't consider them physical media, which is what a lot of people have called it out. Nintendo tried to pass this off of like, see, you still get, the case and everything. And it's like, but the game's not in there. According to the report, NDL representatives explained that only physical media that contains the content itself can be preserved. Boom. And that since a key card on its own does not qualify as content, it falls outside of its scope for collection and preservation. Game key cards are Nintendo's new branding for cartridges that still require the game to be downloaded for the Switch 2 online store before the game can be played. The cartridge doesn't contain the game data, rather it's simply a key that enables a download. Now, as far as I'm concerned, you can't, they're key cards. Don't even bother calling them cartridges. As just exactly like what the NDL representative said. It has to contain the content in itself. The cartridge has to have the content inside of it. If you want to try to pass it off as physically owning it. So there are benefits to such cards, like unlike code in a box releases, they can be traded or sold, so they're theoretically cheaper than proper Switch 2 cartridges. Doesn't matter. People want to own their game. Whether that's physically, you have the disc, CD, cartridge, what have you, and the contents there with it, or if you bought it digitally, you have the right to fucking back it up, and you do not need DRM bullshit like Steam does and stuff in order to run it. They're trying to tell you that you don't really own it. It's like, fuck you. Yes, we do. I can do whatever I want with it. Then they tried this gay ass in between game key cards. So there are benefits. Okay, I read that. So there are benefits to such cards. Unlike code in a box releases, they can be traded or sold or resold, and they're theoretically cheaper than proper Switch 2 cartridges with the full game on the cart because those have higher storage and speed specifications and cost more to manufacture. Who cares? People want that stuff. However, numerous players say they don't like game key cards because there's no guarantee they'll work forever due to their need to connect to the Nintendo server to download the content. There you go. And if Nintendo doesn't like it, they can brick your console. While it seems unlikely this will ever be deactivated in the near to medium term, it's not known what will happen decades from now. Nintendo closed down the Wii U and 3DS eShops in 2023, making it impossible to buy digital games on either system, but it did add that, quote, for the foreseeable future, it will still be possible to re-download games and DLC, receive software updates, and enjoy online play on Wii U and the Nintendo 3DS family of systems. Before that, the Wii Shop channel was shut back in 2019, but players are still able to re-download previously purchased content at the time of writing, some 18 years after its original launched. They want you to rebuy it again. That's the thing. They want you to rebuy these ports, that may be on sale for a time, but are they a true one-to-one? I remember reading about how some versions of like on the Wii Shop or the 3DS stuff, like you can get the same game and there's like some differences between it. Like the color palette could be like slightly off and stuff. And it's like, dude, is it not like the original that came out like for Nintendo a long time ago? Oh my goodness. Game preservationists have come out against the game key card system. Stephen Kick, CEO of Night Dive Studios, which specializes in modern remasters of older, often out-of-print games, told in GameIndustry.biz that seeing Nintendo do this is a little disheartening, adding, you would hope that a company that big, that has such a storied history, would take preservation a little bit more seriously. They don't. They want you to rebuy it. The Nintendo DS collector over on YouTube says that's true. And then didn't like one of the official like Nintendo museum, like video game museums and something where you could play games, like someone went there and found out that they were straight up emulating the games. It's ridiculous. Fuck Nintendo. Every AAA, like every big video game company, Microsoft, PS5, Nintendo, gosh, they all suck in some way, shape, and form, and it's garbage. I'd rather them just go back to the day of the console wars where they just kept pitting each other. They were too busy focusing on trying to zing the other person that at least you still got the game, Far Cry 4, Assassin's Creed 3, and a Revenge of the Savage Planet director Alex Hutchinson has also strongly criticized the game key card system. Yeah, it's the stupidest thing ever. And they're trying to sell you snake oil. It's kind of like owning the game. Well, no, it's not. And the Japanese National Library just told you that it's not, because the content needs to be within inside, not a stupid code that hopefully you're connected to the online Play Store. So there is that. Oh, whoops, I had the wrong logo up. But we are jumping back to Tech for Gamers here. And you can tell just by that picture, you know what the article is going to be about. PlayStation refuses to play it safe after Concord. Hopes future failures happen early in development. Oh no. You keep trying to sell products like that, it's going to fail throughout the entire development, from front to end. Concord's flop last year hit PlayStation like a tidal wave after it invested $250 million on it. Many analysts and gamers expected the company to stay grounded in its live service goals after, but CEO Herman Hulst appears to have no plans to slow down. PlayStation studio boss says that the company will no longer play it safe after Concord's failure instead. It's not our fault that it failed. We just got to go harder. Herman agrees that there will be inevitable failures in the future, but hopes that they happen at an earlier and cheaper point during development. Newsflash, it won't. It will happen at the end when you've spent all the money and you made zero money in return. And in fact, I actually hope that the failures continue to happen like it has been, till you get the message. So even after Concord's multi-million failure, Herman Hulst does not want PlayStation to play it safe. He wants to continue pushing live service ambitions in the future. Well, if it's live service stuff like fucking Concord, you're going to fail every time. Speaking in an interview with the Financial Times, Herman Hulst wants PlayStation's 21st party studios to, quote, think big, contribute more to overall revenue growth, and take measured risks without affecting their independence. I don't want teams to always play it safe, but I would like for us, when we fail, to fail early and cheaply. That sounds okay. I don't know about you guys. Let me know in the comments, but it sounds to me he is not confident. I don't want to always play it safe, but I would like for us, when we fail, to fail early and cheap. Almost sounds like he's expecting them to fail. And it's just like, well, Hopefully it's in the beginning. It's like, wow, that's a terrible attitude and way to run a company. Additionally, PlayStation, it's like you guys tried this falling forward sort of idea, and Concord's a prime example of how you fail super hard about it. And it should be a life lesson, but apparently it's not resonating and sinking in. Additionally, PlayStation has added several quality control and testing protocols after learning from Concord to ensure such a disaster do not repeat despite not playing it safe. Is the quality to number one, don't make DEI crap. Number two, don't be woke. Number three, don't consult in a consulting firm that is also woke hive mind bullshit. If it's any of that, inside of the quality control, you might have a chance. If none of that is in there and it's something completely different, prepare to fail. The advantage of every failure is that people now understand how necessary that oversight is. Oh my gosh. This just sounds delusional. It's like when Brad Pitt's like talking to the people about how to replace Giambi in Moneyball. And he's like, and they're like, geez, Billy, was that a suggestion? It's like, you guys are just talking. La-di-da-da-da, like it's the same old thing. It's not. We got to think different. Like, this is the attitude I'm getting, is these guys are the old guys. When Billy asks, what's the problem? And they're like, we got to replace it. We got to replace Giambi. It's like, nope, what's the problem? And they can't give him the answer of like, you guys are talking the same old nonsense. Like, you got to think outside the box. This is the vibe I'm getting from this guy. Unlike Jim Ryan, Herman isn't chasing a set number of live service releases, just diverse experiences and communities. This right here is going to fail. If this is your forefront, you are not going to succeed. No one is asking for a diverse experience or diverse communities. These are woke terminology lingo that needs to be destroyed. Because this is saying there's these group of people out there that are really upset that they claim that they want games for their community and to be diverse. The truth is they don't care about any of that. They just want something that they view as not being progressive enough, not following their ideology, to be contaminated and destroyed. At the moment, Sony's Bungie is developing Marathon, a live service project also rumored to be in murky waters after a string of controversies. What do you know? He did not learn anything. Therefore, fans still don't have high hopes for Sony's live service initiatives. No, it's going to fail. It's going to fail. If Ubisoft wants to be the AAA gaming studio that like just doesn't listen and wants to just waste money and just go down with the sinking ship, PlayStation is like the company that seems to want to do that. Like wants to be the big gaming company to do that. Microsoft already waved the white flag. Nintendo is just a bunch of dicks. So it's not looking good. Not looking good for anything. Speaking of Nintendo, according to this, they can't get the hardware. Nintendo is reportedly telling would-be Switch 2 devs to release on Switch instead. The Switch 2 development kits are still extremely scarce, it's claimed. The Nintendo DS collector said, I stopped liking Nintendo after DS. There are some games that I do like that are beyond the DS and everything, but yeah, Nintendo themselves, they know how to make good Nintendo games. You can't deny that. As for when it comes to actually seemingly caring about the video game preservation and stuff as a whole, yeah, they're asses. So developers are still struggling to get a hold of a Nintendo Switch 2 development kits, After the console's launch, according to new reports, the latest edition of Digital Foundry DF Directly Weekly podcast, host John Linneman and Oliver Mackenzie reported that they had been told by numerous developers that they were still unable to get a hold of a development kit to make Switch 2 games. According to Linneman, some developers were instead being told to make games for the original Switch for now, instead of specifically working on Switch 2 only titles. Amazing. There's been a lot of talk about this lately, that Nintendo seems to be almost discouraging Switch 2 development to some degree, he said. I've spoken with plenty of developers where they were told that their game, they should just ship it on Switch 1 and rely on backwards compatibility. Stupid. Why would you not do... Oh my gosh. There's a lot of developers that are unable to get Switch 2 dev kits. We talked to a lot of devs at Gamescom this year, and so many of them said the same thing. They want to ship on Switch 2. They would love to do Switch 2 versions. They can't get the hardware. It's really difficult right now. Dude, how can Nintendo just turn that down? Like, literally, cha-ching. We want to give you money to buy these kits. No, just release it on the Switch 1 and then wait for it backwards compatibility. Wonder if this... I don't know. Has the steam finally fallen down with the Switch 2? Where Nintendo realized it wasn't going to just keep being the train that they thought it would be? I don't know. Mackenzie noted that Nintendo's decision to send development kits to some studios but not others didn't appear to always make sense in his opinion, citing indie title Chillin' by the Fire, which was published by Oink Games, and makes use of the Switch 2 camera as one of the more unusual examples of a smaller studio being able to get a kit ahead of a more established developers. Well, I can tell you why. It's because the established developers suck ass. And that the indie developers are actually trying to make a good game and not cater to a bunch of garbage. I mean, I could tell you that. That's definitely part of the reason. Is it the full reason? I don't know. I think they should get more dev kits out there, but I don't really know what Nintendo's mindset was with this set of decisions, Mackenzie said. So I don't really understand the strategy because, like you said, even now developers are struggling to get systems. And I know that some months ago, when we were hearing things through the grapevine and talking to people, there was some weird exclusion with some big developers struggling to get kits from gamers. And there were some kind of weird inclusions as well. Some indies were included, which is nice to see. But there's that campfire game, the camera campfire game, and they're getting kits. Some big developers, on the other hand, who develop AAA stuff, aren't necessarily in the pipeline for kits. Well, it doesn't matter if they sell AAA stuff or if they develop it. If the game sucks, the game sucks. Like, does Ubisoft want a Switch 2 kit? It's like, no, they don't deserve it. The pair concluded that Nintendo's alleged advice for releasing games on Switch and relying on backwards compatibility isn't necessarily useful for games that push the original hardware to its limits. For starters, given that the Switch's output resolution is 1080p when docked in 720 in handheld, Switch 2 output of 4K docked and 1080p in handheld means a less sharp image before taking game performance into account. Oh, boo-hoo, it's not super sharp. I haven't even upgraded to 4K yet. Or 2K, I'm still rocking frickin' 1080p because I'm fine with that. Considering the sale volumes to Switch 2, it's not like developers would be in a position where they didn't want to support the new hardware, Kenzie said. Think broadly speaking, developers do want to support the new hardware, but the thing that's really stark to me, too, is at this point, we've seen very few proper Switch 2 editions post-launch. I don't think we've seen any hardly at all, really, from third-party developers in particular. Oh, dude, Nintendo Switch 2 third-party development sales is doing terrible. We read about that in a past episode. Obviously, we saw No Man's Sky, who cares, and think one or two other games in the mix here. But really, it's been a very slow trickle of titles earning the Switch 2 edition badge. So yeah, I really want to see more movement on that front. I hope it's a temporary thing. I hope that in a year or two, we're looking back and we're like, that was a really weird decision, but it was fixed in time. I hope that's what we're looking at in a little while. Part of me wants it to keep like this and fail miserably because that means something's happening in Nintendo and they're scrambling to do something. So I mentioned Ubisoft early on. We got another one here. Ubisoft CEO Yves Guillemot summoned to appear before French court in relation to harassment trial. Womp, womp, womp. Oh, poor Ubisoft CEO.
They've been serial crushed by some huge friggin' guy.
Doesn't really tie into like the harassment trial that he got summoned to, but it was more of the condescending note from, Paul Smecker. They've been serial crushed. That's what I was getting at with that clip. The Ubisoft says the court had already decided there were no grounds to initiate criminal proceedings against management. So he's been summoned to appear before a French court following the conclusion of a harassment trial earlier this year. I didn't even hear about this harassment trial. Now all of a sudden. In June, 3 former Ubisoft executives, former CCO Sergei Hoska, former vice president of editorial and creative services Thomas Francois, and former game designer Guillaume Patru were given suspended prison sentences and fines for a range of crimes related to psychological and sexual harassment. Now, as reported by French news network BFM TV, Ubisoft has received a subpoena instructing Guillemot to appear before the court on October 1st in connection with the same trial. The way I'm talking, I need to keep a bottle of like whiskey like right on my desk here so that when I am doing absolutely terrible reading and grammaring in general, I can just pull that out and just say that it's because I'm tipsy. At least have a fake excuse for my illiteracy. The subpoena was filed by the Solidaires Informatiques Union and 4 other individuals, the same parties involved in the previous trial. Ubisoft has provided a statement to VGC saying it would cooperate with the court, but that it believed it had already been decided that neither Ubisoft or its management had a case to answer. What's up, Corn Pop? Corn Pop coming in with the zinger. I wonder if pardon my French works in the in the courts over there. Dear Lord, what is happening? I just need to like turn my entire head around to talk to, oh my. I swear my talking is like taking a huge rocket to the dick right now. A union and 4 individuals have issued a summons to Ubisoft to appear before the Bobigny District Court of October 1st. Bobigny? Bobigny? I don't know how you pronounce it, but that name is hilarious. The statement reads, "These are the same civil parties, and this summons is based on the same facts as those in the case judged by the court this past June following an investigation by the Public Prosecutor's Office. After that investigation, and contrary to the civil parties' request, the Public Prosecutor's Office decided that there were no grounds to initiate criminal proceedings against Ubisoft or its management, a decision it confirmed during its closing arguments at the hearing last June." Well, you're being summoned again, asshole. Ubisoft will continue to cooperate with the justice system in this matter, as it has done over the past 5 years in the review of the facts related to this case. Oh, to listen to the justice system, but don't listen to the fans talking about how Assassin's Creed Shadow sucks. Almost said Ghost of Tsushima, but Assassin's Creed Shadow sucks. Ghost of Yotai, no one asked for. All the garbage they've just been spewing out. Don't listen to the fans. Star Wars Outlaws. Ubisoft Executive Vice President Cecil Russell. It'd be hilarious if his name was Cecil Riesel. Added, "Our top priority is to ensure the absolute protection of the physical and moral integrity of its employees." You sure failed when Assassin's Creed Shadows came about. Through a policy of prevention and zero tolerance with regard to sexual or moral harassment, sexist behavior, assault, insult, or discrimination of any kind. You stupid French. Go fuck yourself. I want to hit you. Go suck each other's dick. I hope you guys all get hit by the plague. By gay rats. There, I just did everything that would have got me kicked out of Ubisoft. In June's trial, former CCO Sergei Haska received an 18-month suspended prison sentence and a fine of $52,930. That would be 45,000 euros, I guess, for lewd behavior, posting intrusive questions of a sexual nature, and racist comments and behavior. Dude, I would love to see exactly what those were. He was alleged to have asked a Muslim employee if she supported Islamic State and to have been responsible for her PC desktop image being replaced with photos of bacon sandwiches and food being placed on her desk during her Ramadan fast. Oh, oh no. Oh no. Just, dude, going hard. Oh my gosh. And then former vice president of editorial and creative services, Tommy Francois, was found guilty of moral and sexual harassment and attempted sexual assault and was given a 3-year suspended prison sentence and a fine of $35,290, 30,000 pounds or euros. Is that euros? Or is that pounds is too? Because I guess probably pounds. Whatever. He was accused. Oh, here we go. He was accused of systemic psychological and sexual harassment with alleged behavior including the watching of porn in an open plan office. Cornpot says, yeah, that's euros. Okay. So, Francois, this is what he did. Systemic psychological and sexual harassment. Did he just like stand and someone just went? But apparently he was watching the old porno in an open plan office, or an open plan office. Maybe it was plain. Commenting on the appearance of female staff. Like in the porno or like as they were walking by or something. And what do they mean by comment? Like you look very beautiful today or something? Regular public humiliation and hazing, and attempted sexual assault where he allegedly tried to forcibly kiss a young employee during a Christmas party as she was held by other colleagues. What? Wait a minute. Why weren't the other colleagues involved then if that actually happened? And then Guillaume Patreau, who was designer on such titles as The Crew and Grow Home, was accused of, again, the psychological aspect of harassment, including violent and intimidating behavior. He has received a 12-month suspension, prison sentence, and a fine of 10,000 euros. That would be 11,706. Oh, they don't go into detail, more specific detail about what he did? Was it like, sir, I challenge you to a duel, and like slapped him on the face or something with his glove? And then Hoscote, who oversaw the company's games as head of its influential editorial team, resigned in July of 2020. After a significant number of accusations were made against him, Francois subsequently left. So these are all accusations. So he has, okay, so this, I'm confused. Given this all says they were accused. Well, I guess this one says he was found guilty. Okay, never mind. Like some of it's worded differently, like he was accused. and then he got like prison sentence. So I'm assuming he was found guilty. Or was it just like, we accuse you of this, we don't want to hear your story, you're guilty? He said, Ubisoft? Not if I can help it. Oh! I may have to get a rim shot, drum roll rim shot clip. A cool one. I don't know if I can top Phoenix's. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, we are on one of the main topics, and that is Cracker Barrel. This comes from Fandom Pulse. As of, I saw this, I think, at around 5, so it's been a couple hours. The logo has been changed back. And I got some stuff up there. But Cracker Barrel issues a statement after intense backlash after company changed its logo. It's not just the logo, by the way. It's what they did to Taco Bell, where Taco Bell was like very colorful, like exactly like McDonald's. We're seeing this all over. They're taking everything that's like Americana, colorful, bright, vibrant, actually looking welcoming, and replacing it with communistic, modern, bland, soulless bullshit. And I even heard some people say, like, the theory around it is that so they're wanting all of these companies to do this so that once they get crushed and taken out of the picture, their brand can just easily be erased entirely and replaced with something else, like as easy. Like, for example, like a lot of stuff that struggles is like back in my hometown, we still have an old school Pizza Hut shape restaurant. Like, you can clearly tell it was a Pizza Hut back in the day. It's now into a Mexican restaurant, which makes sense because they can utilize its unique shape and stuff to bring about, the Mexican culture and all that stuff. But this is what these assholes are trying to do. This is what these communist woke buttholes are doing. Anything that's Americana, anything that's like American pride, makes you think back in the day, where that American patriotism and spirit, they want to crush it completely. So Cracker Barrel issued a statement after the company faced intense backlash after it changed its logo as well as began redesigning in restaurants. So August 18th, Cracker Barrel explained their new logo, saying it's, quote, is now rooted even more closely to the iconic barrel shape and word mark that started it all. The change in the logo came after Cracker Barrel hired Julie Felice Massino to be its new CEO in November 2023. She's the same person that ruined Taco Bell. Keep that in mind. Massino, whose background is in marketing, began to quickly make changes, announcing a strategic transformation back in May of 2024. Specifically, it claimed its transformation was in, quote, driving relevancy, delivering food and experience guests love, and growing profitability. In order to do that, it was going to focus, quote, on refining the brand, optimizing the menu, evolving the store and guest experience, winning in digital and off-premise, and elevating the employee experience. It specifically noted it had, quote, engaged a leading branding agency to refine and strengthen positioning to delight existing and new guests. So in an interview on Good Morning America, Massino claimed feedback from the rebrand has been, quote, overwhelmingly positive that people like what we're doing. 100% a lie now. 100% a lie. Because they caved, and just look at the stock. You ruined it. No one was overwhelmingly positive. She added, I actually happened to be in Orlando last week with all of our managers. We bring them together every other year, and the number one question I get asked, Michael Strahan, is how can I get remodel? What can I get a remodel? Or when can I get a remodel? How do I get on the list? Because the feedback and the buzz is so good, not only from our customers, but from our team members. They want to work in a wonderful restaurant. Bullshit. If only the managers are saying they want to remodel, it ain't the customer saying that you're doing a good job. But now in a post on Facebook, made a statement. If the last few days have shown us anything, it's how deeply people care about Cracker Barrel. We're truly grateful for your heartfelt voices. You've always shown us that we could have done a better job sharing who we are and who we'll always be. This doesn't make any sense. Cracker Barrel was perfectly fine the way it was. People loved the antiques on the wall. People loved the color. They loved the gift shops. I remember buying jawbreakers from there that were amazing. People loved the peg game. It was fine. No, you're straight up delusional. What has not changed and what will never change are the values this company was built on when Cracker Barrels first opened in 1969. Hard work, family, and scratch cooked food made with care. I guarantee you it's not scratch cooked food anymore. Because now it's a big chain business and now you got to make shortcuts to make sure everything, stays preserved and all that stuff. But again, all that stuff I listed before, that's what Cracker Barrel was based and built upon. A place where everyone feels at home, no matter where you're from or where you're headed. That's a Cracker Barrel you'll always find. That doesn't mean make it bland and plainless. Ugh. Nintendo DS Collector says, it happened so many times that we see all it takes is for one bad CEO or WE to destroy a company. Yep. So the company continued. The thing people love most about our stores aren't going anywhere. Rocking chairs on the porch, a warm fire in the hearth, peg games on the table, unique treasures in our gift shop, and vintage Americana with antiques pulled straight from our warehouse in Lebanon, Tennessee. I don't believe that for a second. We love seeing how much you care about our old timer. We love him too. Uncle Herschel will still be on our menu. Yeah, the menu, not the logo. Welcome back, Uncle Herschel's favorite breakfast platter, on our road signs and featured in our country store. He's not going anywhere. He's family. So while our logo and remodels may be making headlines, our bigger focus is still right where it belongs, in the kitchen and on your plate, serving generous portions of the food you crave at fair price and doing it with the kind of country hospitality that brightens your day and creating lasting memories. Meatloaf, the singer? He's dead, I believe. Chicken and dumplings, country fried steak, sides that taste like Sunday supper, and yes, the world's best pancakes. They're all still there with a few new dishes joining the menu. Whether you're a longtime fan or a first-time guest, we want you to feel at home around our table. We also want to be sure Cracker Barrel is here for your next generation of families. They don't care about Cracker Barrel, just as it has been for yours. They will only care is when this generation who remembers Cracker Barrel takes them there. Cracker Barrel's statement indicates they completely ignored the criticism. That's where I'm getting at, Corn Pop. That is exactly where I'm getting at. So we also want to be sure Cracker Barrel is here for you. This means showing up on new platforms and in new ways, but also with our heritage at the heart. Company concluded, we take the responsibility very seriously. We know we won't always get everything right the first time, but we'll keep testing, learning, and listening to our guests and employees. Right there. Right there. That is straight up saying we don't care. We'll just keep testing it. At the end of the day, our promise is simple. You'll always find comfort, community, and country hospitality here at Cracker Barrel. Uncle Herschel wouldn't have wanted it in any other way. Uncle Herschel might have, after you guys heard the feedback and got your ass kicked in and put him back and changed the logo back to what it was, he was spinning in his grave. Thank you for caring so much, and come see for yourself the country hospitality that makes Cracker Barrel feel like home. Love, Cracker Barrel. And even the new font they used is a bunch of garbage too. Company concluded we take responsibility very serious. We know we won't always get everything right. Oh, that's pretty much it. So that's pretty much it. And because of this, as you see right here, stock went completely down. She completely destroyed. like the stock. Corn Pop, Cracker Barrel. Remember how you hated the redesign? Well, Jingle's keys. Look, potatoes. I know, right? These people think we're stupid. Well, people have spoken out and they have made a statement, and it has been confirmed over on Cracker Barrel 4 hours ago. We thank our guests for sharing your voice and love for Cracker Barrel. We said we would listen, and we have. Our new logo is going away, and our old timer will remain. At Cracker Barrel, it's always been and always will be about serving up delicious food, warm welcomes, and the kind of country hospitality that feeds the family. As a proud American institution, our 70,000 hardworking employees look forward to welcoming you to our tables soon. And someone pointed this out. Exclusive. Ashra Nomani. She knew. Cracker Barrel CEO Julie Felice Messino and her board ignored warnings last year from investor Sardar Biglari that her, quote, strategic transformation plan and rebrand was obviously folly. So this has like a thread here. So refine, you can read all this and whatnot, but apparently, according to this, investors and board critics fires off a letter to shareholders saying strategic transformation plan is obviously folly. Cracker Barrel is not a broken band, but it has a broken board. Boom. 120-page slide deck presentation with the title Cracker Barrel's in Crisis. Dude, this guy went ham. So you can find that on, but yeah, people are pointing out that this was clearly planned all along. You had this, and then someone that I like, that I watch, Carrie Smith. She pointed out, did you listen to what else we said though? As a long-time loyalty customer, I can't continue to bossy you unless you, one, reverse the bland, boring, modern McDonald's decor plans. We hate it. Stop funding all-age pride events where children watch degeneracy. And end your racist, sexist, and gay-obsessed DEI and, quote, belonging programs. No one cares. Pay more attention to serving high-quality food. Thanks. Boom. Someone else says Bud Light was important in that the people discovered they actually had a muscle that could be flexed. Exactly. People rejected Bud Light, and they paid for it too. But I like Carrie Smith. She did a show about Cracker Barrel and kind of goes more into depth, so you should check her out and support her. But there you go. Cracker Barrel learns its lesson. And I even made a post saying, like, change everything back. Stop being ashamed of having Americana, on the wall. All that. And fire this bimbo. This Julian Messiano, or whatever her name is. Fire her immediately. She destroyed Taco Bell. She tried destroying Cracker Barrel. She needs to go. And do not let her come back. Speaking of fighting the good fight, a big fight that happened recently that I think is sad is Ray J. Jackson, son of Rampage Jackson, commits brutal assault on military veteran pro wrestler, LAPD investigating. So the wrestling world is reeling after a violent assault at a Knox X Pro wrestling event in Los Angeles. On August 23rd, 2025, Ray J. Jackson, the 25-year-old son of former UFC light heavyweight champion Quinton Rampage Jackson, stormed the ring and launched a sustained attack on Stuart Seco Stu Smith, a U.S. Army veteran and independent pro wrestler. The Ray J. Jackson assault captured on a live stream showed the young man striking Smith more than 20 times in the head, continuing even after Smith lost consciousness. His first hit knocked him out. You can clearly, if you watch the video, you can see it. I don't think it's going to be in here, and I'm not going to pull it up just because you can find that on YouTube or on X. And you can find, and I will, and I'm sure Bad Park Police is pretty good at keeping like stuff up to date and stuff. It has video of what led to it. This douchebag, getting hit in the head with a can with water in it that's already crushed, and the wrestler doing what wrestlers do when they are striking the head, is putting their hand in front of it first and not even hitting the guy. The Nintendo DS collector says, every video I've seen of Ray J looks like he's ready to fight anyone for breathing air near him. No, he's a beta bitch. He's 100% beta bitch. We'll read more into this, but this stems down into the fact that his feelings got hurt. But let's continue in here, because I saw some people trying to say during all this he had a brain injury already happening. That doesn't excuse anything. And very interesting if people are going to try to pull that analogy, that a brain injury justifies his actions of what he does. I seem to recall another famous wrestler who had so much brain injury, he did something terrible with himself and his family, and everyone shunned him. But why does this douche knocker get a free pass? The Ray J. Jackson assault, captured on a live stream, showed a young man striking... What should have been a scripted moment in front of fans quickly spiraled into a real-life beating that left Smith hospitalized, and I believe he's awake now, and triggered a police investigation that could put the young Jackson behind bars for a long time. It should. This was straight up premeditated, because there's video of him, the wrestler, twice telling him it's K-fob, it was stunt, it was for the promotion, all this stuff, asking him if he's cool. He talked to him twice. And this little bitch says, yeah, he's cool, but he let it fester. From beer can incident to brutality. Trouble began earlier in the evening. Smith struck Jackson on the head with a beer can. See, right there. Look at that. This is what wrestlers do whenever they do a head strike. They put their hand on there, and they're lessening the blow to where if it does hit them, where they get a bump, their hand is taking the force of it. And I guarantee you that beer can was not full all the way. It was probably pre-crunched and hit it and has some liquid in it to make it, jut out. Whether it was intended as a joke or a spur-of-the-moment wrestling angle, it clearly crossed a line. Smith seemed to realize that instantly as cameras caught him apologizing repeatedly, making it clear he hadn't meant to hurt or humiliate Jackson. What's up, Komanga? And yet, yeah, and he even... Again, he did what a wrestler does when they do a head strike. Like, I've seen this. I've seen people explain about this. Professional wrestling, such incidents are often smoothed over with a, quote, receipt, a controlled, safe strike in the ring that acknowledges the mistake without real injury. Jackson's wrestler friend arranged exactly that. Raja would be allowed to deliver such a symbolic receipt, typically a stiff forearm or a chop to the chest. That wrestler getting beat up was crazy. Jackson himself admitted on camera that the can didn't even hurt, but instead of letting the matter drop, fans on the Kick live stream began to egg him on, rage baiting him in real time. Jackson stewed, visibly agitated until his moment came. So this little fucker doesn't know how to control his emotions. Okay, I was an emotional kid as well. This is fucking retarded. When he entered the ring, he abandoned the idea of a controlled receipt and instead unleashed a barrage of punches to Smith's head. Witnesses counted more than 20 blows delivered, even after Smith was knocked out cold. Smith, who served in the U.S. Army before turning to wrestling as a way to cope with PTSD, was rushed to the hospital with severe facial injuries and broken teeth. Reports later confirmed that he is awake and recovering, but shaken by the ordeal. Here's the video. I'm not going to play it. You can watch it on X. The fact that Smith is a military veteran has only intensified public outrage. Many in the wrestling and combat sports committees see the attack not only as reckless and criminal, but as a violation of the respect due to someone who served his country. The Los Angeles Police Department has confirmed it is investigating the incident as an assault. While charges have not been announced, he better fucking press charges when he repeatedly apologized to him and the guy said it was cool, and then a bunch of faggots stirred him up by going, "Oh no, you should really hit him," and him working himself up into intensity. He purposely let himself get himself. What's worse is some wrestlers like RVD kind of backed him up. I did see that. I'm sorry, RVD is wrong. I know he said he had a comment about it and that he's kind of backing him up. I don't know if he went into more detailed with it, but no, he's wrong. This guy let his emotions get to the best of him because he was egged on by Kick, which tells me that he doesn't know how to control his emotions. He had a chance to clearly get a receipt, have it staged, and come out looking okay. But instead, he went full animal on it. And I'm so fucking tired of these people in general with this animal mentality. Wrestling insiders know that Jackson was not trained in professional wrestling, raising serious questions about why he was allowed in the ring at all. Yeah. Knox X Pro Wrestling, the California promotion at the center of the scandal, issued a public statement condemning Jackson's behavior as selfish, irresponsible, or reprehensible. Well, none of you fags went in there to stop it when he clearly couldn't defend himself. The group, which has been active for nearly 2 decades, emphasized that this kind of violence is unprecedented in its history. So Knox X Pros is closely associated with WWE Hall of Famer Rikishi, father of WWE superstars Jimmy Uso, Jey Uso, Solo Sikoa, who serves as a trainer and public face of the promotion. However, ownership traces back to Reno Black Pearl Anoya, Rikishi's cousin and co-founder. That distinction has become an important part of the fallout, and critics question the promotion's oversight and accountability. So Rampage Jackson apologized on his son's behalf. He explained that Raja had recently suffered a concussion while sparring, was not training in wrestling, and may have misunderstood what it was expected of him in the ring. That's no fucking excuse. That's saying that if you're going to say that's fine because he has a concussion, he doesn't know he misunderstood what needed to be done and stuff. That's like saying Chris Benoit was fine for what he did. And everybody shuns Chris Benoit. They erase him completely from history. Do not give me that line of bullshit. Do not condone what happened, Rampage wrote, expressing concerns for both men involved. He apologized directly to Smith, Knox X Pro, and the Kick streaming platform. While some fans accepted the apology, men have pointed out that nothing excuses the violence captured on with camera. The ripple effects quickly spread. Knox X Pro had been part of WWE's independent development program, which helped spotlight indie schools and talent pipelines. In the days following the incident, WWE quietly removed all WWE ID branding from Knox X platform, effectively cutting ties. Though this is just one part of the fallout, the message was clear. WWE does not want its brand linked to what happened in Los Angeles. And there's like footage of him, like someone's trying to calm down by telling him it was just an act, bro. Like don't worry about what you did. It was an act. No, that wasn't an act. This has reignited a long-standing debate in professional wrestling. Where does script performance end and real-world violence begin? The beer can strike was a mistake, to be sure. The receipt was supposed to be a safe, controlled way to move past it. Instead, Jackson's lack of training, combined with the toxic encouragement of a live chat audience, turned a performance into a crime scene. For Smith, a veteran who used wrestling as part of his recovery for the traumas of military service, the attack was more than just unprofessional. It was deeply personal and dangerous. Yeah, and the guy comes in there, picks him up, and it even looks like he lets him pick him up. Stewart lets him pick him up to slam him, and then proceeds to just knock him out, like punch him on the ground. Like full haymakers on the ground. I'm curious if this guy, like if he's actually a veteran and he's actually like trained in combat, I'm actually thinking that the veteran would whoop this faggot's ass. Smith continues his recovery. The LAPD will determine whether Red J. Jackson faces charges. And then Knox X Pro, meanwhile, faces a reputations crisis with its WWE affiliation gone and its credibility damaged. One thing is for certain, this incident will be remembered not as a storyline, but as a chilling reminder of what happens when disciplining training and respect for the craft breaks down. Except this guy has no training whatsoever. If this guy's being trained to how to fight properly, but he can't control his emotions, he shouldn't be taught how to fight. And again, I'm tired of this animalistic, like people excusing this sort of animalistic behavior. That you breathe at me wrong, I have the right to beat the shit out of you. If it comes down to that, to where people think they just have the right to act like animals and let their emotions get to the best of them and then just go on a rampage or something like that, fine. Sure. I think as society, there's a proper way to responding to it. And Warshak from Watchmen had a good way of thinking about it.
Get arrested. Dogs get put down.
You want to act like an animal? Fucking fine. You want to act like a rabid dog? Fine. You know what happens to rabid dogs? They get put down. Gosh. The insanity this world's coming to. And sadly, unfortunately, it's only going to get worse. Days of Noah, man. Like from scripture. This sort of brutality was like common throughout the days of Noah. There's people defending what he did. It's bizarre. Yeah, it's bullshit. Like the very first punch, he's knocked out. The very first punch. No, where's him picking him up? I'm not going to try to play it, but okay, it's just him punching him. I'm trying to find, there's a video of him where you see him lift him up and then slam him down, looking like he's doing a wrestling move. And the guy even looks like he lets him like pick him up and stuff like that. And then just haymaker. Like this is like, to me, this makes me think of all those people who do those sucker punches. The sucker punch game where they just come up and just straight up haymaker people in the face and then run away. This is exactly that vibe to me. God, this is so fucking stupid. So dumb. Because somewhere out there, I mean, I like my good, I like myself a good vigilante sort of thing. But man, it's, gosh. The good Lord cannot come quick enough and start pouring his wrath out on all these people because of the insanity. What's even worse is someone could even be pushed to the extreme too, to where if we're thinking this is bad, like someone else could take it to the next level. Jeez. Ugh. Just infuriates me. But let's tone down the anger. And let's look at something that's, as we wind down for tonight, let's look at some cool things that are happening. Stu is stable in a way. Hope he recovers well. I hope he does too. Shenmue 3 Enhanced announced for PC and all consoles. So anybody who's a big Shenmue fan, apparently you're getting an upgraded re-release of Yu Suzuki's third adventure game in the iconic series. I never played Shenmue. It's in development for Windows PC, Xbox Series XS, PS5, and a Nintendo console. Just a Nintendo console. We don't know which one, apparently. Either the Switch 1 or Switch 2. Release date wasn't announced. This is the first time the game will appear on a non-Sony console. So it's getting an upgrade edition of the acclaimed adventure. Let's see. Sharper texture, richer details, fast loading time, smoother gameplay. Refined, more detailed environments and characters for a 4K texture uplift. DLSS FSR support. High quality upscaling without sacrificing performance. classic camera mode, increased NPC density. The city village Niawu feels more alive with more characters populating the streets. Gameplay tweaks, improved interactions, menus, and UK enhancements, and optionality first. Well, we'll see. I mean, we've been seeing a lot of enhanced remastered editions, and we don't know if they're going to touch anything. But maybe if you guys like Shenmue, something you might enjoy. This game looks pretty cool. Wizardom coming to console in September. So they announced a game was announced. Wizardom is coming to console. The retro-inspired first-person spellcaster simulator is coming to Xbox Series XS, One, 5, PS5, PS4, Nintendo Switch this September. So originally released for Windows PC in early access back in 2023, and hit full release this year. So check it out. So the ancient seal of Terra Bruma has shattered, unleashing the forces of chaos once more. It's one of the last mages in Wizardom Sanctuary. You must embark on a quest to find the source of this corruption, push the chaos back before they consume the kingdom in a speedrun-friendly fantasy FPS, tearing a page from the spellbooks of 90s fantasy FPS classics like Hexen and Heretic. So, kind of gave me like a Doom feeling. The pigs. Oh, an ice wand. You can toss snowballs. Fireball. Kind of like this. I've always been a big sprite person, so I like these sprite looks. Trying to think of like one where, I mean, your Super Nintendo always looks good. But that looks dope. So there you go. It's coming to consoles if you like that game. I might have to check that out. Apparently, Acclaim announces showcase with new reveals and more. Acclaim has announced the first Play Acclaim showcase, a new broadcast that will bring all the latest detail and reveals for the recently reborn publisher. The new Acclaim showcase will bring, quote, new surprises, exclusive content, and announcements you won't want to miss, as well as your first glimpse of what's ahead for the company. Broadcast date is set for September 10th, and you'll be able to watch it over on the Acclaim YouTube. 2:30 p.m. Eastern, 11:30 a.m. Pacific. So this tantalizing tease offers a feeling glimpse of Acclaim's upcoming lineup of titles while celebrating the brand's unforgettable legacy. The announcement teases, blink and you might miss it. Hidden in the static behind the glow of CRT screens are the titles that will lay the foundation for this exciting new chapter for Acclaim. This isn't nostalgia for its own sake, something else, a kind of retro future nostalgia, paying homage to and embracing the brand's unmistakable DNA and history while charting a bold new course in the future. We're not here to chase ghosts, says Alex Joseph, CEO of Acclaim, in a press release. We're here to take the energy and chaos that made Acclaim unforgettable and channel it into something new. The old screens are cracking. What's coming through is something exciting and different. Joseph added, you can't rewrite the past, Joseph added, but you can build upon it. This is about owning our story and moving it to the future that feels bold, energetic, and completely fresh. And here is the trailer.
This is a new era. The future has arrived.
I mean, as long as you add on to it successfully. That is very...
I came here to tell you how it's going to begin.
Yeah, this looks like new games in the past. Or maybe not, I don't know. Looks dope though. I wish them success. I like that feel. That's very old school. And the last thing to wind down about that I am super excited about, because I remember wanting to play this game for so long, is that the Japan only Cowboy Bebop PS2 Serenade of Reminiscence got a fans translation. This is awesome. Thanks to the effort of fans, or namely fan by the name of Sonic Mania 69, Western audiences can now experience the jazzy escapade with Cowboy Bebop on PS2. It was released in Japan for PlayStation 2 exactly 20 years ago to the day. This game was originally developed by Band Presto and was published by Bandai. 100% English fans translation, all text, graphics, credits, and much more translated. The first time the game has been fully playable in English. And I think there's a PS1 Cowboy Bebop game as well. And then you can get the patches available on Sonic Man's 69 GitHub page. Instructions included. Players will have to provide the ISO themselves, ethnically sourced from their own PS2 game collections. Here's some screenshots from the English page. Oh, that's a long list. We won't watch that, but we'll open that up. So, Gonza, cowboy, what if I don't want to go willingly? Did you catch that? Like, this reminds me of the Gungrave games, and those games are awesome. So, that's kind of like the feel I had. So, I'm stoked to check this game out when I can. But anybody who ever wanted a Cowboy Bebop fan, we got one. And again, this is why I tip my hats to the modding community, and a special shout out to Sonic Man 69 for doing this. You know, some games that never get over to the US, it's due to these fan translations and the modding community that we're able to experience stuff that we missed out. And it's weird because Cowboy Bebop I thought it did really well. Everyone loves it's one of the rare English dubs that's just as good as the regular or the Japanese. All right. Well, that is what I have for you tonight. Insanity everywhere. And with that being said, I will wind down by seeing what games were released tonight. Finished RoboCop, Rogue Hero yesterday. So I did start up Scott Pilgrim versus the World. But I do have on my locals page, I do have my backlog list. So if anybody has any game suggestions and they see it on the list, let me know. Because I'm always down to try to find, to get through that or to play some classics. Let's see what games were released today and tomorrow. Dragon View, not familiar with that one. Dragon Quest, there you go. Dragon Quest 7, Fragments of the Forgotten Past. Mario Kart Super Circuit. Icewind Dale 2, Super Mario Sunshine, Buffy the Vampire Slayer Chaos Please, if you're a Buffy fan, F-Zero GX, Pokemon Pinball Ruby and Sapphire, Digimon World Championships, Harvest Moon DS, Tales of Vesperia. I don't know if this is an add-on, but The Sims 2 Apartment Life. I remember the Attack on Titan game. I don't know. Some say that was pretty good, but PC. There you go. Hello, Mario. Oh, I think I saw this. You can play with his face kind of like how you could with Super Mario 64. Shinobi Art of Vengeance. I think this game actually looked pretty cool, too. That was a pretty solid list. They had some really good games on that one. Dragon View is somewhat of a hidden gem. Says Corn Pop. Yeah, what is it? Sounds like an RPG to me. Yeah, RPG. Oh, yeah. Okay. Huh. Maybe something to check out down the road. But games that were released tomorrow. Attack on Titan 2 is the greatest game of all time, says the Nintendo DS Collector. I don't know about all time, but tell you what is one you could put there. Tomorrow, Earthbound was released. Super Mario Kart was released. Mafia SOCOM US Navy SEALs, Metroid Prime 3 Corruption, Castle Crashers. I remember that being a talked about game back in the 360 days. Soul Calibur, Broken Destiny, Final Fantasy 14 Online, A Realm Reborn. It's more action RPG. I had fun with that. I even got a limited re-release a few years back. Oh, that's cool. I like action RPGs. I might have to check it out. Madden NFL 25, Layers of Fear, Runbow, Zombie Army 4 Dead War. I actually played with a friend. It's pretty good. Castlevania Dominus Collection. I think that's like all the... Oh gosh, Star Wars Outlaw was released 1 year ago. But there you guys go. There was games released today and coming up tomorrow. If you enjoyed the stream, make sure to hit a like and subscribe. We were live on the Big Five: YouTube, Rumble, X, Kick, and Twitch. Thanks again, everybody, for hanging out. Hope you guys enjoyed it. My rants. And I'm just a guy giving his 2 cents worth and all the insanity. But let's go ahead and do some rating here. Let's see. On Rumble, who be online? My friend Vara is playing Metal Gear Solid 3. Show her some love. Corn Pop says, thanks for the stream. You are welcome, brother. Let's see. And then who do I know over on Rumble here that is live? Been rating Fuzzy Pickle. He's been playing Truck Driver Simulator. Unless we want to see if there's any retro games live currently on like the Rumble page. Man, see, this is what I'm talking about. Oh yeah, Cat Dog is playing Metal Gear Solid 2. Let's see if there's any other ones before we raid Fuzzy Pickle. Yeah, it's like all Warzone and Helldivers and all this crap. Man, I want retro games up there. Fix 6, he's streaming Shin Megami Tensei. We'll go ahead and we'll raid Fuzzy Pickle. So, the new channel I kind of came across. Oh no, he's doing Roller Coaster Tycoon. So, show him some love if you enjoy. I just liked it because he had some scripture included. So if that's your tea, check him out. If not, don't worry about it. But show him some love. Confirm that raid. And with that, I will catch you guys on the flip side. Take care and God bless. And I'll see y'all later. Peace.